The USL Championship saw a major record fall in 2024 as Louisville City FC shattered the home wins record, but they weren't perfect. They faltered just once, and as fate would have it, that loss came against their Eastern Conference semifinal opponent, Rhode Island FC. Happy to have you with us this evening from Lynn Family Stadium for this broadcast presented by Toyota. Alongside the coach, Eric Dobransky, I'm Joe Malfa. Just a reminder of the bracket here in the Eastern Conference and the USL playoffs brought to you by Terminix. It'll be either Louisville City or Rhode Island against either Charleston or Tampa Bay. Eric, these two teams again met here once this year back on June 22nd. The only loss of the year for Louisville, and Rhode Island blitzed them.
Yeah, it's something where for Rhode Island, Joe, they should feel a lot of confidence coming into Lynn Family Stadium. This last matchup was defined by momentum-grabbing plays. You saw that strike by Holstad. You see this finish right before the break by Quizera, and then this ball from Fusen to J.J. Williams to put their team up 3-0, and then Lou City had to open up. They had to try to push for goals, and obviously sometimes the beneficiary is the opponent. They started to open up. Rhode Island took advantage and put two more in the back of the net. You could see what it meant to that team.
What it meant to them as far as the scope of the season as well, before and after, night and day for Rhode Island.
It's incredible the turnaround since that matchup, but when we spoke to Connor Smith earlier in the season, he felt really good about the chances that this Rhode Island side were creating. It was just those fine margins, and a lot of the times when you're in your first season, it's that final phase that comes a little bit later because there's lack space. It's about the fluidity, about the interchangeability, and that's what has begun to click here for Rhode Island.
Take a look at tonight's player profile presented by Commonwealth Credit Union. It's Taylor Davila coming off a goal and an assist in the conference quarterfinal, the win over North Carolina. He was a first-team All-League player last year, probably on his way to that same honor here in 2024. And he is just the tip of the iceberg for this Lou City side. You never know any given day who the guy might be to step up.
I mean, this is difficult to look at if you're an opponent, Joe. I mean, you just don't know who to prepare for. I mean, they have 19 goals from Wilson Harris, 9 from Wilson. I mean, you just go down the list, and that just shows how multi-dimensional Lou City has become. And obviously, it's been a work in progress for Danny Cruz and his side. But boy, is it coming together, and it is flowing, and they are in rhythm in that final third.
Lou City trying to make it a perfect 10 for 10 in USL Championship. 10 seasons, 10 Eastern Conference final appearances. Rhode Island trying to go 1 for 1 in their inaugural season. It's an Eastern Conference semifinal clash between Lou City and Rhode Island, and it's next.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get out for a night out in a new Toyota.
Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like this all-wheel drive RAV4 Hybrid.
When it comes to SUVs, more people count on RAV4 year after year.
Get 4.99 APR financing on a new RAV4 or RAV4 Hybrid, or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $309 a month, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota. Let's go places.
That's the best present.
Actually, one more. You told me to save up for something special.
I'd like to open a round-up checking account for this young lady.
Absolutely.
This way you'll be able to save up for something special.
You're my special something, Grandpa.
Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
How do you get your news?
Is WDRB the soundtrack to your morning routine?
Or you can scroll on the go with the WDRB News app.
If you've already cut the cord, start streaming our news on WDRB+.
Maybe you like to read a more in-depth story and you use WDRB.com.
When weather's the biggest story of your day, the WDRB Weather app has video forecasts and radar.
However you choose to get your news, WDRB is the source.
Rescue 126 coming in hot.
Are you ready?
Welcome to the party, Captain. We're gonna need every rescue unit they can spare.
Mars! Big waves, big currents, big everything.
I'm going in.
It's all in a day's work.
Hang on!
Good save, Captain.
An all-new 911 Lone Star, followed by an all-new Rescue High Surf, Mondays at 8 on Fox.
Players making their way out onto the field here in this Eastern Conference semifinal. And the USL playoffs brought to you by Terminix. It's Louisville City FC hosting Rhode Island FC from Lynn Family Stadium. This should be a fun one here tonight. The 1 in 16-1 at home was Rhode Island. Louisville trying to get them back. This is the 11 for Danny Cruz.
And this is a match that can come to be defined and impact by transition moments and which team can win those wide areas. McFadden and Dia will need to find that balance as they work to press defensively and get themselves into those areas high and wide. I also think that this is a big matchup for Elijah Winder. How can he influence it in midfield and kind of create that advantage in central areas?
On the other side for Rhode Island, a couple of tweaks they've had to make because of injuries and guys missing, but this is still a very strong 11 for a team that's been hot down the stretch.
And J.J. Williams coming off that hat trick against Indy 11 in that first playoff game, and does an incredible job kind of interchanging in those attacking areas, and Haribo and Holstad make sure that they influence and limit second chance opportunities for Lou City.
It'll be Louisville in the purple left to right, Rhode Island in their yellow right to left. Elton Garcia, the referee in charge, in the red. He sends us on our way here in Louisville. Eastern Conference semifinal. Spot in the Eastern Conference final on the line. Louisville looking to make it to their 10th in a row. Rhode Island looking to get there in their inaugural season. Should be a fun one tonight here in Louisville. The start to this one's so important. Louisville last game felt they came out a little bit unprepared and not up to the intensity of a playoff game. North Carolina, don't forget, scored first in that game before Louisville ultimately knocked 3 in a row in behind, and a late goal from North Carolina, just some window dressing there to make the final score 3-2. But they were punched in the mouth early on and had to respond.
Yeah, North Carolina came out on the front foot, albeit those 2 goals conceded were off set pieces, so something that Danny Cruz was very adamant about, that working on this week, spending a lot of time kind of fine-tuning those moments, looking at the data, looking at some of the adjustments that you can make.
Here's J.J. Williams barreling through. Great tackle put in by Sean Tosh. And it was Williams who scored 19 minutes in for Rhode Island. So Lou City got off to a slow start last game. Rhode Island got out to a hot start in their win over Indy.
Good start defensively here. Sean Tosh making this tackle, making sure his presence is felt here early. You always wonder, you mentioned getting an early start and a fast start for both these sides. That human element, you mentioned Rhode Island being the only team that has beaten Lou City at Lynn Family, and Rhode Island has yet to drop necessarily points. They have the draw, the 0-0 draw early on in the season, and then the 5-2 win as we see J.J. Williams clattering into Sean Tosh.
That's playoff soccer for you. A heavy challenge from J.J. Williams. Elton Garcia settling it down. Tried to do the right thing, tried to extend the hand. Sean Tosh wanted none of it.
And you can imagine that J.J. Williams is remembering the tackle that Sean Tosh had put on him just a few moments ago, and going through the back of Sean Tosh there. And all you can do is offer. But that human element for Rhode Island, knowing that you've come into Lynn Family, and obviously that 5-2 match was a long time ago, and both these coaches stating that there is nothing necessarily tactically or anything that they could take from that game that'll influence this match tonight. But you've come into Lynn Family, the only team that's come in and picked up 3 points. And then your previous match at home was a 0-0 draw. So where does that sit? And then for Lou City, wanting to avenge that one loss at home and feeling that there was a lot more for them in that 5-2 loss. I know that scoreline is a loud loss, and it's the only multi-goal loss that they have.
Just think of this season, Louisville, all the success they've had. Again, to your point, did not beat Rhode Island this year. 0-0 draw in Rhode Island. And that 5-2 loss here, Danny Cruz again felt that game could have easily been 6-1 in Louisville's favor. Not meant to be. It was one of their highest performances in terms of expected goals when they went back and looked at the data. It was their 3rd game in a week after the first 2 games were on the road. Then they came home. He didn't try to make an excuse of it. It was just, to your point, That was then, this is now. Very different circumstances where there isn't much carryover from June 22nd to now.
It is, but we showed the graphic in the pregame. It definitely came to change the momentum for Rhode Island. Those goals started to pour in after that match. And you see the ball hit the back of the net. You get that confidence, you get that bit of fluidity in the final third. Began to click.
Commonwealth Credit Union. To learn more about how we can help you meet your financial goals, visit WeSeeYouDifferently.com. Our Commonwealth Credit Union player to watch, Taylor Davila, sends this one long, similar to how the goal was scored for Amadou Dia. He was looking for him. He was the one creeping in there. The ball not on target this time, though.
And that's what Lou City do so well on the ball in those wide areas. They overload them, and then the interchangeability for that midfielder to get wide, and that delivery from Davila, as we see Danny Cruz, his side. You mentioned the slower start last week against North Carolina FC, but for Danny Cruz and his team picking up where they left off in the regular season, being that team that picked up such an incredible amount of points from losing positions, go down 1-0 early to North Carolina FC and then scored 3 unanswered, and then obviously conceded that late set piece to North Carolina.
Winder out wide, McFadden, flag stayed down. Aiden McFadden delivers. It'll be a throw right back where it came from, off the header. That first matchup, Jojea Quizera down this left side, the left wing back for Rhode Island, had himself a day, but he wasn't going up against McFadden. That'll be an interesting new matchup to watch here tonight. Last time it was Jansen Wilson as the right wing back playing out of position for Louisville. This time it's McFadden, who's one of the best 1v1 outside backs in the league. Tosh headed back centrally, almost ends up Wilson Harris. A mistake there from Frank de Darce goes unpunished.
Yeah, to your point, Joe, these are two teams. Obviously, you have personnel rotation throughout a long season, but for both these teams, they have continued to play different players in wide areas depending on the matchups, depending on the game, depending on what they need and where they need it. And that's something, to your point, that area out wide has become so influential. The way they find balance, the way they disrupt and then create attacking moments just like this.
Play to the end line. Serrano looking in front. Cleared away. Morris dug in the low knee. Got his foot on it. Offside flag comes up here on Louisville. And it's interesting just thinking about this Louisville team going up against Cano Smith and this Rhode Island side, how Danny Cruz wanted to attack. As you see the rain starting to fall a bit more here now in Louisville, how Danny Cruz wanted to attack Rhode Island this time. It's a little bit more of a defensive approach because you've got McFadden at right back instead of Jansen Wilson. That's different, more defensive focused. On the left side, last week you and I were on the call for that Louisville, North Carolina game. We were a bit surprised that it was Amadou Dia instead of Jake Morris. We asked Danny Cruz about it. The reason being was, feels Amadou Dia is a better 1v1 defender. So that cat and mouse game here between Danny Cruz and Cano Smith, just small tweaks from the last meetings, things you take with you. Again, even though it was so long ago and the circumstances were so different, it does still weigh on you and you do still make some different decisions based on what happened then.
And it shows the emphasis that both these teams and put in those wide areas, those matchups out wide, in terms of the influence it has in an overall match. How it can not only influence some of the initial exchanges, but come to define a whole 90-minute match. How do you move a team? How do you stretch a team? How do you start to find some of those channels to play in and out of?
Yeah, you and I chuckled when Danny Cruz said the reason he started Amadou Dia was for his defense-first mentality, and he scored the opening goal. So that's been the kind of year it's been for Louisville. We showed you the graphic, all the multi-goal scorers this year. They start a guy in Amadou Dia for defense, and he produces the goal. So sometimes when you're hot as a head coach, you're hot, just press the button, hope it works out. Giving them away here from Dia. It's Williams barreling through. Williams scores! Continues to torment Louisville. His 4th career goal against Lou City in 10 meetings.
And it's really defined by the patience and understanding from J.J. Williams. Just a poor turnover by Ray Serrano there, just getting poked away. But it's the positioning of J.J. Williams and then the recognition that he doesn't have the numbers joining him, but the attention that he has collapsing on him. He can explode between Adams and Ordonez. And then Damian Loss commits to coming off his line and then commits to going down. So J.J. Williams doing what a true finisher does, recognizing what the goalkeeper's giving him and then just clipping that ball over the top. And now his 4th goal in these playoffs.
It's deja vu for Louisville. It was basically the same moment of the game last game against North Carolina that they go down 1-0. Can they respond the same way? Sometimes players just, you rise to the occasion. That's been the case for JJ. Going back to Birmingham and then Tampa Bay, those teams have always been in the playoff mix. As McFadden drives it, it's cleared away by Yao. Those teams I mentioned have always been in the playoff mix against Louisville. So he's played against Louisville in big moments, and now 4 goals in 10 games to go with 3 assists. So 7 goal contributions in 10 games for J.J. Williams against Louisville. He loves playing against this team.
Well, and I will add that early on in the season when we showed that graphic, J.J. Williams was still coming back from injury, right? So he was not fully healthy and in the squad and in the conversation as we see a free kick given on the foul here in the wide area from Rhode Island. So not only do you start to get J.J. Williams back towards that middle part of the season, but now you get him in form. That's different when you get attacking players. We see Darce, the foul from Ray Serrano, and this is something for Lou City. If you want a quick response, this is it. You get an attacking set piece in the final third.
5th third bank free kick for Lou City. Sean Tosh always so dangerous coming up off the back line on these. Obviously Wilson Harris, a 19-goal scorer. Plenty of options here. It's a driven in-swinger, glanced out and saved by Vegas. Still loose in front, Tosh looking for it, and it's over the bar. Follow the bouncing ball at the edge of the 6. It ends up taking a deflection out for a corner. Nearly 3 minutes later, the equalizer for Louisville.
And this is where Lou City has proven to be so dangerous throughout the season, and why they were so lethal in these areas was 2nd and 3rd chance opportunities. We see the last-minute deflection there, but just putting yourself in opportunistic spot, chasing down every ball, being relentless.
J.J. Williams, he's the trainer for a moment. Cano Smith upset about something in the mix there. Wonder if he thought J.J. Williams was fouled. It'll be the first 5-5 corner kick of the evening, though, for Lou City. J.J. Williams gonna have to come off here because the trainer coming out, and that's big because it's one of your biggest players. He's terrific defensively in the air on set pieces, so you're missing him now. Davila drops it in, flicked away by Nadarce. Comes out for Dia, took a deflection. Vegas can't get there. So they'll do it again. This time, Rhode Island will hope that J.J. Williams is allowed on the field, and there he goes. So defending with a full deck of cards here on this corner.
Second opportunity for Lou City to showcase an area that they excelled at through the regular season. 17 goals on attacking corners.
And that led the league. Davila deflected in front. Came off of Adams toward that back post. Looked like it was going wide. Vegas wasn't taking any chances. Parries it away. And Rhode Island can clear their lines, but Fuson gets into trouble. Tried to dribble it away, and then he commits the foul after he gives the ball away. All of a sudden, after getting that goal, Rhode Island, game is flipped here. Lou City is knocking on the door for the equalizer.
Terrific delivery, and you put it in an area where...
Actually came off of a defender.
Yeah, I was about to say, you put it in an area where somebody has to make first contact, and you see the foul there again, almost in the same area as Nodarse's earlier, and now you have Nodarse on the yellow. You wonder how that influences some of the 1v1 attacking and defending you see throughout this first 45.
Serrano, a little bit too low for Wilson Harris, ducked down to try and flick it on. So last game it was Olex Anderson scoring in the 11th minute against Louisville for North Carolina. Lou City equalized 9 minutes later, and then 4 more minutes after that, they took a 2-1 lead. So they responded well to going down last game. So far have responded well to going down this game. They have a goal to show for it, we'll see. Adrian Perez, Elijah Winder.
Well, you mentioned it, we had him on the call last week, and when we talked to Danny Cruz about all the numbers that they put up this year, goals, the record at home, he had talked about his proudest and least proudest number was the number of points they picked up from losing positions. Obviously not extremely proud of being down goals, but having the resilience and the problem-solving ability of his team to get themselves back into games and pick up 3 points. And that's something that can carry you through a playoff run. But I'm telling you right now, you just can't continue to put yourself in that position. But with that said, we did talk about that in the North Carolina match. This is only a team that has been shut out twice this season. So we knew that North Carolina was gonna have to push for a second goal before Lou City found the equalizer, and that's something that Rhode Island did in that last matchup.
I was just about to say, beyond that, who's one of the teams that shut Louisville out this year?
Yep.
Rhode Island in the fixture that was played up in Rhode Island. So if there's any team who's capable of winning this one at 1-0, it maybe is Rhode Island, but I wouldn't count on that, given what we've seen all season long from Louisville. Quizera. See if Rhode Island can start fighting a little bit more with the ball and quelling some of this response from Lou City after going down a goal. Just been wave after wave of pressure. Look how high that line is from Lou City, pinning Rhode Island in. Coque Vegas does well to play out of it here. Fuson clips it up over the top. Nodarse sprinting at it. Nodarse. Williams was lurking. Ball goes over the top. McFadden makes a mess of this one. I don't think Damian Luss thought he could have picked it up. Those two arguing about it now. Would have been a gray area. Didn't seem like an intentional pass back, but too close for comfort.
Yeah, Nodarse putting this ball right in an area that puts McFadden in a difficult, precarious situation where he gets the slightest of touches, and Damian Luss not feeling comfortable with whether it would be called a pass back or not. Playing it out and then conceding this corner.
Both goals Lou City conceded last week were offset pieces. Spent a lot of time in training on it this week. Floated in toward the back post. Yao rose for it. And it'll be another corner. Fans, when Lou City wins, you win. This season, Lou City has partnered with Wendy's to give you a free small frosty if the boys in purple win. No purchase necessary. An offer valid the following day after a win at any participating Louisville area Wendy's location where you can redeem. But in peril right now, down a goal early, and Rhode Island, second corner in rapid succession. Similar service punched away by Laz. Back-to-back good deliveries from the corner.
Now this is where we see Coque Vegas the most comfortable, is involved in the build. Goalkeeper that plays as high as he can in terms of becoming that 11th player.
Sometimes, though, you hold your breath a little bit if you're a Rhode Island fan. You talked to you about it earlier, just going down memory lane. Go back 2 seasons when he was in San Diego still in a playoff game against the Oakland Roots. Had a howler at the back and allowed the Roots to score and change everything in that game. So you do have to stay true to your identity, but you also do have to be a little bit aware of the scenario here and not cost your team in a bad way. But he's one of the best in the league playing with that unorthodox style.
Yeah, that ability for Coque Vegas to play higher up just allows positioning for Rhode Island, his ability to play make from those deeper positions, as we see foul here coming through the back of Elijah Winder. There's Mark Ibarra.
This was one of those matchups you circled when you saw the bracket could fall this way. Aside from the storyline, of course, of Rhode Island being the only team to win here this year, just two informed teams over their last 7 matches, regular season, postseason. Both these teams, same record, 5 wins, 2 draws, unbeaten in their last 7. Two of the hottest teams in the league. We've seen it through 20 minutes, back and forth, already a goal. Give me 70 more minutes of this, maybe 100 more minutes of this, we'll find out. But this is one that you circled, and we got it. Now just enjoy it.
Well, and I know we keep touching on kind of that beginning start for Rhode Island, the goals just not finding the back of the net, those chances not converted. And it just goes to show how strong of a second half of the season they had. The 4 teams that we have in both East semifinals were amongst the top 4 in goals scored in the entire league, not just the East, in the entire league. Obviously the 89 for Lou City. And then Rhode Island was the top 4, Charleston was top 4, Tampa Bay Rowdies top 4, North Carolina was there as well.
This portion of tonight's match is presented by Toyota and the Kentuckiana Toyota dealers. Kyle Adams. Sent long by Winder. Vegas has it. In the aftermath of both hurricanes Helene and Milton, the USL has partnered with United Way Suncoast to help the Tampa Bay area recover from the devastation the storm left behind. To learn how you can get involved, scan the QR code or visit www.uslsoccer.com/Milton to ensure individuals and families have the access to the resources they need to recover. Just the one chance so far from the open run of play for Rhode Island. There's that giveaway off the throw-in by Louisville. J.J. Williams left everybody behind him. J.J. Williams, it's not quite a homecoming for him here. He's from Alabama, but collegiately over in Lexington at the University of Kentucky. So scoring again in the state of Kentucky here tonight. Maybe that's why he's enjoyed playing against Louisville so much. It's part of that bluegrass rivalry, Kentucky and Louisville. College level, just seeing Louisville on the scoreboard as a team across from you. Again, 4 goals in 10 meetings. Instead, striding ahead. Contact there. Elton Garcia says play on, all ball.
We mentioned Lou City's depth. I mean, this is a Rhode Island side that has Albert Dequa on the bench.
There's Wilson Harris. Low, tried to sneak it through for Serrano. Duggan there to clear. He was a big pickup, Morris Duggan. The loanee from Minnesota back on August 9th. Just wasn't really getting much time with Minnesota United after some of the mid-season acquisitions they made. 24-year-old from Munich. 3rd-round pick in this past year's MLS draft.
Good transition moment here by Rhode Island, and Clay Holdstad taking it down the field. Unfortunately, unable to pick out an option before Amadou Dia makes that sliding tackle and intervention. Drops to Damian Loss.
Quizera, he has not really ranged forward from his left wing back position. That's different than the last meeting. Again, different matchup on this side. Maybe also getting that goal in the 9th minute leads him to stay at home a little bit more instead of taking the risk. But it was him getting that 2nd goal right before halftime in the last meeting that gave Rhode Island the ability to have the cushion to go on and get that victory. So again, it's just weighing the risks right now if you're Cano Smith.
100%. Finding that balance between picking your moments, but creating your moments. Because you can't just assume that those moments are gonna showcase themselves. You've got to go take them, and it's about the movement. It's about, you saw that ball into Clay Holstad. It's that progressive thinking, that ability to pick out that positive pass, break lines of pressure, eliminate defenders with a pass or a dribble.
This driving rain certainly having an impact as well in some moments, some mishits, some skips of the ball. A lot of respect between Danny Cruz and Kano Smith. A funny moment in our conversation where Danny Cruz said, yeah, Kano's one of the great young coaches in this league. We started thinking for a second, wait a minute, that doesn't add up. Danny Cruz is 34 and Kano Smith is 43, but maybe he met one of the new coaches in this league in his first season as a head coach, but certainly not young. 9 years his elder, Kano Smith.
Yeah, I've admitted not to be good at math, but that was something where, when he said it, and I agree with your point in terms of maybe the introduction to coaching in the USL Championship, but yeah, it was...
It's just weird to hear Danny Cruz say the word young.
Yes.
Young coach.
The grizzled veteran from
JJ Williams, end line, Quizera. Harivo calling for it, receiving it. Harivo back post. Dia not taking any chances, out for a corner. Had that run in behind from Nadarse. Would have been dicey if Dia let it go.
Well, and we just talked about Rhode Island creating that chance to go up 2 goals, and Lou City on the same side has to be careful with, they're pushing to find that equalizer, but not leaving themselves open and exposed to conceding that second goal. The next goal is gonna absolutely change the narrative and the tempo of this match. And that's where both coaches say that there's nothing to take from that previous matchup, but they're both aware how that next goal will change the outlook.
In swinger, a lot of traffic in the heart of the 6, but the ball overcooked and out for a goal kick. Check out all the exciting postseason action in November. The 2024 USL playoffs presented by Terminix showcase the top teams battling it out for the ultimate prize. Go to USLChampionship.com for the latest playoff information. This is a standalone game right now. 9:30 Eastern. We'll have New Mexico hosting Las Vegas. The 1 seed out west in action tonight as well. Supposed to have a third matchup tonight. Mother Nature had different plans. Supposed to be Colorado Springs, Orange County. Blizzard went through Colorado. So no Colorado Springs, Orange County tonight, unless they wanted to break out the orange ball and start shoveling whenever they had a chance during the game. So that'll be tomorrow. That's at 6:30 Eastern tomorrow. The big one tomorrow, 3 Eastern, CBS Sports Network, Charleston and Tampa Bay. And one thing to keep in mind, as far as looking ahead down the road, who might host the final, we could solve this weekend which conference will host the final. If Louisville wins and if Charleston wins in the Eastern Conference, and if Vegas upsets New Mexico, it would guarantee the Eastern Conference team would host the final just based on the seeding and the points. So we could know which conference will host the final by the end of this weekend already, and not even have to worry about next week yet.
That's where that regular season body of work becomes so important to all these teams. As you find yourself getting deeper and deeper into the playoffs, playing at home, especially when you're facing adversity like this. Lou City, you concede early, but you know how well you've played at home and the goals they've scored at home as well.
Welcome in the fans watching this game on WBKI, the official broadcast home for Louisville City FC.
And right now, other than that free kick shortly after the goal, the JJ Williams goal, and Rhode Island has done a good job.
It's got quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've done a good job of absorbing a lot of these attacking sequences from Lou City.
Had a frantic first 10 minutes. The 8 to 10 minutes after that, Lou City looked like they were going to respond, but Rhode Island has taken the sting out of this game and now looking for a second one of their own. Lobbed over the top toward Williams. Lou City handles it. Going to plan so far for Cano Smith.
And I like the idea there by Hervo because J.J. Williams commands so much attention. I know it's a kind of a clipped-in ball that has a lot of loft, but you drag all that attention to the left, and then if J.J. Williams is able to bring that ball across the face of the 6-yard box, maybe you find somebody to jump on the end of it.
Approaching the half-hour mark now in the rain in Kentucky at Lynn Family Stadium. Lou City went 16-1 at home this regular season. Their lone loss came against Rhode Island back on June 22nd. Chance tonight to avenge that loss and make another Eastern Conference final, but a goal in the 9th minute by J.J. Williams has Rhode Island ahead. Now on the long throw, looking for more. Darcy could not flick it on. Serrano can't clear it all the way. Holstead clips it underneath. To have you with us for this one. Alongside the coach, Eric Dobransky, I'm Joe Malfa. Spot in the Eastern Conference Final on the line. It'll either be 10 straight Eastern Conference Finals for Lou City in their 10 years in this league, or it'll be 1 Eastern Conference Final for Rhode Island in their 1 year in the league. So either way, one of these teams will be 100% in making Eastern Conference Finals in their time in USL Championship. J. Williams getting tangled up with Sean Tosh. We've seen that already tonight. Continue to keep an eye on it.
You mentioned that consecutive appearances in a final. I mean, we asked Cano Smith kind of how the balance between those first-year successes and identifying those successes, celebrating them, but also understanding and we've talked to him early, we've talked to him mid-season, the ambitions of this club, this organization, and him as a coach, these players. And he mentioned that until we really accomplish what Lou City's continue to accomplish, there isn't too much to celebrate right now. I mean, win that first ever playoff game last week against Indy 11, I mean, what they've done to make the playoffs in that first season.
I think so far, the signal's been pretty clear from Rhode Island. They're going to be a top team in this league. Stadium's already on its way. From day one, when you looked at this roster, you knew this was going to be a very dangerous team. Again, talking about some of the players who were even on the bench tonight, and Albert Dequa. They went out, they spent. They got some big names in this league, some really strong loanees from MLS. They put all their chips in and showed they were going to try and contend every year, not build slowly, academy, that route. They were going to spend and go for it. And here they are now. Quizera. Fuson drove it in. Serrano comes away with it. Still Serrano now in space. Wilson Harris cutting inside. Harris going up against Karifa Yao. Yao wins that battle. Quick throw from Lou City. Served in. Header from Perez hangs up there for Coque Vegas.
And both these teams feature such defined identities. The way they want to play on the ball, the way they want to play off the ball. And both led by two terrific head coaches that are able to not only mold that identity, but communicate it effectively. Because I mean, I think that's one of the most underrated portions of coaching, is how do you do that every day in and day out? How do you create that fresh mindset and that ability to convey your point, and sometimes especially in areas where Rhode Island towards the latter end of the season, when they found a lot of success scoring goals, and then Lou City from the sustained success throughout the 34 games. How do you adapt that message and make sure it hits just right?
Fuson of a sudden, tide is in the favor of Rhode Island once again, looking to double their lead. And withstood that storm from Lou City, trying to respond to going down. Now it's Rhode Island on the front foot. All of a sudden, this is starting to take on the identity of that June meeting. As much as these coaches tried to distance this game from that game, so different, starting to look like it a little bit. And it was right before halftime in that game that Rhode Island got the second goal to go up 2-0.
I agree with you. I think both teams are navigating the ebbs and flows and the momentum shifts within this matchup. And right now it's Rhode Island's turn, and are they coming in at an opportune time?
Holstead, don't let him shoot from distance. We learned that in June. One of the best goals of the season, but not the same effort this time around. Out for a goal kick. Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice.
And that 3-2 win last week for Lou City over at North Carolina FC. The depth of scoring, 3 goals, 3 different goal scorers in that matchup. And Wilson Harris was pretty much controlled in terms of his ability to influence the offensive side, but anytime he commands that kind of attention, it does open up a lot of the other areas of the field. So I think sometimes you look at the score sheet and you don't see Wilson Harris and you say he didn't have an influence. He definitely has a hand in.
Settled here now by Perez, had it blocked.
He definitely has a hand in some of the fluidity and the interchangeability that Lou City has featured.
Dia looking long, McFadden can't get to it.
But in a matchup like this, how does he find a way to influence the game on the score sheet? And that's what makes him such a dangerous attacking presence, is because his ability to adapt to what the match is asking of him.
Seen Louisville recede a bit in their pressure, picking their moments. Miscommunication between Dia and Laz. No harm, no foul in the end. Laz was ready to scoop it. Dia got a touch on it. Changed everything. Harris wants to go quickly. Long throw, but the ball slipped out of his hand on this wet night. Winder picks it up. He was trying to go long to Perez in behind.
And Rhode Island's second actions continue to be the difference, even when they concede some space and some overloads in those wide areas or even central. Their ability to regain that ground and support each other defensively has been the difference in terms of winning back possession. I mean, even in the example was the turnover on the throw-in for Lou City that led to the first goal. Poke from Nodarse that led to J.J. Williams on the dribble down the field, scoring that first one.
That's really been the Achilles heel all season long. If you're going to pick a weakness for a Lou City team that has set or come close to setting all kinds of records this year, those moments, whether it's set pieces, whether it's a moment like that where it was just a lazy throw in and not tracking back then on J.J. Williams, those brief moments where they seem vulnerable, they've been hurt more often than not. I say more often than not, relatively speaking, again, for a team that only lost a handful of games this year. But there's been plenty of times, to the point you were making earlier, all the points they gained from losing positions where it still happened and cost them because they came back and won or tied still. But it's happened, maybe far too often for their liking.
So we see this from Aiden McFadden. Comes off Mark Ibarra. That's where you don't want that casual mindset of we're going to outscore every opponent, because you have 89 goals on the season and you can continue to put up those loud attacking numbers. You don't want to always have to rely on coming back into games and pulling yourself back from those losing positions. But there's no question that Lou City's going to have to do it tonight.
Smith thought about stopping that ball, but look at the shoes he's got on his feet. Wet night, a little muddy. I wouldn't touch that ball either.
And we spoke before the game, the shoe game in the USL Championship by some of these coaches are on point, and you brought up a great one. Ben Pierman from Charleston.
Always rocking Ben Pierman. Harivo. Nothing doing there. Gives us a chance to take a look at these from Cano Smith. I mean, come on now. Ben Pierman, you have 24 hours to respond. You got a 3-shoot kick tomorrow.
Yes, that is on the forefront of Ben Pierman's mind. How do I respond to Connor Smith?
Coach Pierman's a junkie. I know he's watching this game. He's got to be. Here's Williams. Fuson on the turn. Fuson took a deflection. Another corner now for Rhode Island. Another moment where it's a lapse coming out of the back on the goal kick from Louisville.
Have to be careful with that build out of the back, that loss of possession right here, and putting Rhode Island themselves in great position to pick up that second ball. Let's take from Fuson and get this late corner kick, and talked about the influence of what that next goal will mean. Be really detailed in what you're doing on the runs, what your role and responsibility is, and see if you can be effective.
Quizera from the corner, flicked on by Williams, but out for a goal kick. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on Tudana, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Select matches, including the championship final, will be available in Spanish. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. At this point, if there's a team who benefits more from a quick halftime whistle, probably Louisville. Just some mistakes at the back on shaky ground. Haven't found much in the attacking half since really the 20th minute. Regroup and figure it out. I think Rhode Island would invite that halftime whistle as well, just to get to the break with the lead, and then reshape whatever they need to going into that second half.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw changes out in those wide areas from Danny Cruz and his side. Talked about the ability of Jake Morris.
Winder. Adams. Got Jake Morris obviously as an option, more attack-minded at the left wing back position than Amadou Dia. You can bring in Philip Goodrum, who's a pretty nice break glass in case of emergency. On the flip side, you got Albert Dikwa, so two of the best quote-unquote backup strikers here tonight. Wilson Harris taken down. Free kick here for Lou City. Could be the lifeline they need here in this first half to wake what has been a dormant attack for about 20 minutes.
This could be a huge free kick for Lou City, and this entry pass from Sean Tosh, the recognition of where Wilson Harris wants it, and the ability for Wilson Harris to understand where Yao is, the ability to turn, pose that threat to put it on his left foot. But it's that age-old question, is it too close? Is it too tough to get this ball up and down? How do you find that space to go maybe low and around the wall?
You've got a conversation right now. Perez, Davila, Serrano. Got Kyle Adams standing in the wall with Sean Tosh. See it often in this game where you're aiming for those two who are going to part and go to that far post. So if it's Serrano, I think he's aiming at Adams, and Tosha will break apart, try to sneak at far post. A lot of options here. It is Davila through the wall, saved by Vegas, right between Adams and Tosh.
And that's where that experience from Koke Vegas is so important for this Rhode Island side. You could see the work that he was doing from post to post. He was back and forth, guiding this wall. And it is not easy to locate a ball that travels right underneath that wall. You catch it late. But that positioning and the reaction from Koke Vega is so important.
Perez. Chased by Duggan, in the corner. Perez serves it. Rhode Island deals with it until swing and a miss. Stoppage time presented by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Here in this first half, 3 minutes tacked on. Perez over the line for a goal kick.
And you talked about the halftime break for both these teams. I think for Lou City, continue to bring up the points they picked up from losing positions. Why that also becomes important is it could easily guide this conversation at the break, because this is a team that has not only picked up the points they've picked up in losing positions, but has scored a tremendous amount of goals in the second half. So their ability to have those honest, tough conversations, that ability to make those adjustments at the break, and then not even make the adjustments, but then execute the adjustments. You don't have to press that panic button, because you've seen it, you've done it, you've had those discussions. So you don't have to do it in such an important game where now all of a sudden you're discussing things that maybe you haven't seen before, scenarios that are uncomfortable or challenging. You can be progressive with those conversations and allow the best to come from those conversations and make those changes. And I would say the same for Rhode Island, because they have navigated this stretch. Here's a turnover.
And a corner here late. Another Wi-Fi corner kick for Lou City. Final minute of stoppage time in this first half. Rhode Island leading 1-0. This would completely change the outlook going into the locker room if Lou City can steal it back. Served in, back post. Couple of deflections. Ordonez rose for it, and it's a goal kick. Lou City swarming Elton Garcia. He just checked with his assistant referee. They gave each other a thumbs up. Goal kick it is.
Yeah, they're saying off this header, it bounces off a Rhode Island defender. Let's see who catches last. That far post delivery, the consistency and the pace makes that set piece so dangerous.
Williams sneaks it through. Fuson cutting. Fuson blocked away by Adams. Oh, that was almost copy and paste from the June meeting. The final minute of stoppage time. That's when Rhode Island took a 2-0 lead.
And a massive intervention from Kyle Adams here. So opportunistic from Rhode Island, and Fuson, the ability to get down and block that shot can be something that we look back on, and one of those moments that allowed Lou City to keep this at 1-0 and get back in.
Long throw, still loose. Harivo plays it back out wide. Holstead, fronted by Serrano. Holstead drops it back. Probably the last play of this half. Harivo cleared. Jonathan Garcia lets it carry on. No, he'll blow it dead now. A 1-0 lead for Rhode Island going into the break in the Eastern Conference semifinal.
And for Rhode Island, they have to feel really good about this first 45. They managed the ebbs and flows, the momentum, and I think the main objective was staying connected in those transition moments, and they have done a tremendous job of eliminating Lou City in some of those moments where they regained possession and wanted to play fast. They've done a great job of influencing that first ball. And Lou City, just the ability to break pressure with that first ball or that first dribble has been, they need to be effective in that moment.
It was number 9 in the 9th minute. J.J. Williams giving Rhode Island the 1-0 lead, stunning this crowd here in Louisville. These fans have only known appearances in the Eastern Conference Final in 9 years in this league. That's in trouble right now, Rhode Island. Their inaugural season could be on the way to the Final Four. We'll find out. More to come from Lynn Family Stadium.
That's the best present.
Actually, one more. You told me to save up for something special.
I'd like to open a roundup checking account for this young lady.
Absolutely.
This way you'll be able to save up for something special.
You're my special something, Grandpa.
Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
WDRB Mornings, all local morning news.
Sunday, it's a huge day of football on Fox. It all kicks off with a special Veterans Day pregame show live from Naval Base San Diego. Then, Brock Purdy and the Niners take on Baker Mayfield and the Bucks.
What a play!
It all kicks off at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fox. Check for the game in your area.
As you gear up for holiday shopping, we have a heads up about holiday scams. We'll highlight 3 ways scammers might target you.
Really, anyone can advertise on social media. Not because you see it on social media doesn't mean that it's legitimate.
See the warning signs that could save you from becoming a victim. Wake up with WDRB Mornings Sunday.
Get out there and get away. Hit the trails and take it off-road.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck.
Like the trail-dominating Toyota Tacoma.
The best-selling truck in its class for the past 19 years.
Now you can get Tacoma with a hybrid powertrain. This iForce Max delivers 326 horsepower.
Now get 4.99 APR financing on a new Tacoma or lease a Tacoma SR5 for just $279 a month.
Nobody builds trucks better than Toyota. Let's go places.
Lou City have only known success in this league, looking to make a 10th straight Eastern Conference final, down now by 1 at the break against Rhode Island. And some of that success, it's been a little while for Lou City. 6 years ago yesterday, the last time they lifted the trophy in the USL Championship. Take a stroll down memory lane.
USL Cup final, is it a repeat champion or a new one? It's
18 here, U of L Stadium. Oh, here it comes. Luke Spencer! Oh, what a banger. Oh, I remember this moment. The knee slides in the corner, the celebrations. I remember after seeing this, knew that we were going to lock it up. We were going to close this game out. But just bottom of the pile here. Well, a lot of moments of just battling, grinding for any chance we could get. This was such a back and forth game. They had a couple good chances as well. You just see what it means to everybody. This is so cool. And doing it back to back, it was so special. We knew that, you know, we were capable of doing this and that there was more for us. You see George up in the front row, Alexi, a whole bunch of guys who've come through here. Speedy there, Richie, Oscar, a lot of special people.
Yeah. Get it. Get it. Shit.
Should have got a dog.
When mice show up, so do we. Terminix it.
New flavors. The same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked Bebidas.
Welcome to Do or Die. Welcome to stories that give meaning to it all. The juggernaut chasing history. The hero hoping for a Hollywood ending. The upstart determined to make the most of its shot at glory. Welcome to second guessing everything. Every coach's decision. Every referee's call. Every pass, shot, tackle, save. Because you know it all means more now. Welcome to the playoffs.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
Get out there and hit the trails. Get to the cabin. Get out and play.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck.
Like the dominatingly powerful new Tundra, which can tow up to 12,000 pounds and deliver the best resale value in its class.
Now get a new Tundra with 2.99 APR financing, $2,000 customer cash, or a low $419 a month lease. Plus 2 years, no-cost maintenance.
Nobody builds trucks better than Toyota. Let's go places.
The rain has not relented here at Lynn Family Stadium in Louisville, Kentucky. Rhode Island up 1-0 on Lou City here in this Eastern Conference semifinal. Take a look around USL Championship here with some news and notes in the postseason, brought to you by Tiger Bomb. We're to look at the next season because you've got new ownership now in Sacramento. That came sort of out of nowhere. Also coaching changes there. Mark Briggs out in Sacramento. Alan Marcina out in San Antonio. It's always an interesting time. So much change that impacts next year while we're still in the playoffs here this year.
It is, and you talk about a coaching change. Danny Stone moving from Phoenix Rising. Obviously them parting ways throughout the season, and then the impact he's making in Orange County. They had that huge upset of Memphis in that first round match. But two coaching changes at two organizations and two teams that have seen continued success with those coaches, Mark Briggs and Alan Marcina. It'd be interesting for San Antonio and Sacramento how they and what they look for moving forward.
No, of course. And J.J. Williams, their player of the month, he left his mark already tonight with the goal giving Rhode Island this 1-0 lead. We've got 3 more conference semifinals to come. Next one you'll see later tonight. New Mexico hosting Vegas. New Mexico last week, a crazy one against Phoenix. Went down 1-0, won it 2-1. Snapped a really long skid for them. It's been a handful of games without a victory. And Vegas, on the other hand, their first ever playoff victory, and it was in a dramatic shootout against Sacramento.
Yeah, you were starting to worry that you were going to get any goals in that Las Vegas game. It was 0-0, and then you see a couple saved penalties early.
It was 5 straight penalty saves.
Yep, and then Valentin Noel finally tucks it away. Las Vegas and Dennis Sanchez and his group move forward.
And that one will be a lot of fun, and so will this one. Tomorrow, 3 Eastern, CBS Sports Network, Charleston and Tampa Bay. 2 teams, again, the last couple of years that have just been there at the end in the Eastern Conference. Charleston made it to the final last year. Tampa Bay's been there, done that. This one has all the makings of a very tight clash.
I mean, the matchups that the USL Championship playoffs present, I mean, how intriguing they are. I mean, this is just one of them. You mentioned the New Mexico United and Las Vegas matchup, 2 teams that the offensive firepower, and then Charleston, Tampa Bay. It talked about that top 4 teams leading the USL Championship, Charleston, Tampa Bay being up there.
Back in the Western Conference, we round things out tomorrow night. It's Colorado Springs, Orange County. This was again supposed to be today. Blizzard came through, changed that. Colorado Springs, they're clicking in the attacking end. Jairo Enriquez with one of the best individual runs you'll see.
And a player in Ronaldo Damas that is featuring for Colorado Springs that featured heavily for Orange County in their USL Championship run. See his penalty here that saw them advance through the playoffs, and what a tremendous matchup that will be as well.
A reminder, the full bracket and playoffs brought to you by Terminix. My biggest takeaway, I don't think you can have a bad final. Yeah. I mean, like, you can go through any combination you want here, and it's going to be a really fun final no matter who ends up there.
Yes, I will buy that point, because that is a terrific observation, because you look at the East, you look at the West, I mean, just absolutely loaded in what the matchups are, and even some of those first-round matchups, what you got on both ends of the ball. I mean, we talked to the 0-0 in Las Vegas, Sacramento, but the PKs and New Mexico United finding a way to move past Phoenix Rising.
And I think the biggest thing is, like, even though there were, yes, 3 upsets technically last week with Rhode Island, Tampa Bay, and Orange County, you could argue that those 3 teams were the better teams in the matchup. Seeding, obviously, they were on the lower end because of how they maybe were earlier in the season. But if you were to look at this holistically, of the 16 teams that got into the playoffs, I think the 8 best teams in the league are remaining now.
100%, and it just shows the strength and the depth of this league. I mean, you bring up that Detroit City-Tampa Bay matchup. I mean, what a performance. I mean, all these teams have showcased different characteristics throughout the season and the ability to problem solve.
Yeah, the upsets are fun, but I think we've got the best 8 here at the end now. And maybe Rhode Island ends up as one of the best 4 and upset the historic Lou City side that we've seen all season long. Second half from Lynn Family Stadium on the way. Rhode Island 1, Lou City nothing. This has all the makings of a chaotic second half. Stick with us.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get out for a night out in a new Toyota.
Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like this all-wheel drive RAV4 Hybrid.
When it comes to SUVs, more people count on RAV4 year after year.
Get 4.99 APR financing on a new RAV4 or RAV4 Hybrid, or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $309 a month, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota. Let's go places.
At Typical Insurance, you're just another senior.
That is the 3rd health insurance commercial with seniors at a farmer's market.
Right? Don't get me wrong, I love a fresh heirloom, but it's like those companies think we're all the same.
That's why I chose Humana. Before I signed up, I spoke to someone who actually listened to what I needed. She told me about benefits that were right for me, like vision and dental, all in my budget. I finally feel in control. What are you doing?
Taking control.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
When you need inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger. For thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And low prices that add up to big savings, like over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get out there and get away. Hit the trails and take it off-road.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck.
Like the trail-dominating Toyota Tacoma.
The best-selling truck in its class for the past 19 years.
Now you can get Tacoma with a hybrid powertrain. This iForce Max delivers 326 horsepower.
Now get 4.99 APR financing on a new Tacoma, or lease a Tacoma SR5 for just $279 a month.
Nobody builds trucks better than Toyota. Let's go places.
Look back at highlights from half number 1. Rhode Island up 1-0 on Lou City, and it happened right here.
And a sideline restart, just a little intervention from Nadarce that poked forward, and then J.J. Williams did the rest. Nadarce will go on the score sheet with the assist. Playing opportunistic. J.J. Williams gets his head up, knows the area that he could drive at, and then sees Damian Loss going down. The ability of a veteran attacking presence, able to clip it over. And then just moments after that, conceding that goal, Lou City was on the attack, on those attacking set pieces. This delivery from Ray Serrano, the slightest deflection there by Elijah Winder, and it really comes down to second and third opportunities for Lou City and a lot of those attacking free kicks. And then Rhode Island seemed to weather the storm, create some more moments to go up 2 goals. Then Wilson Harris, the ability to turn, earn this foul. And Coque Vegas, the save on Taylor Davila's free kick. We thought that that was a moment that maybe Lou City pulls that goal back.
Out of the locker rooms here, 2 subs on the Louisville side, and Danny Cruz is wasting no time, immediately inserting Philip Goodrum and Jake Morris. So you've got a left wing back who's accounted for 12 goals this year, 5 goals, 7 assists, and a striker in Philip Goodrum with 9 goals and 2 assists. He is trying to come for it right away. And he's got Wilson Harris and Philip Goodrum out there together instead of swapping one for the other. We'll see what that means for Lou City, and we're underway in half number 2. Rhode Island left to right in the gold, Lou City right to left in the purple. Glad to have you with us this evening on ESPN Plus with the coach Eric Dobransky. I'm Joe Malfa. Eastern Conference semifinal spot in the Eastern Conference final on the line. Second half of tonight's match presented by Toyota and the Kentuckiana Toyota dealers. Subs brought to you by Fortnite. It's Perez who gave way for Goodrum, and Amadou Diop for Jake Morris. Those are your 2 changes.
And that's the identity of both these teams. The structure, the tactical formation, the positions. They'll always stay true to that. The personnel change and what that personnel does to the game and how they influence those areas of the field are really important for both these teams. You said it, now you have Goodrum and Wilson Harris on the field at the same time. Usually we've seen that straight swap. Wilson Harris coming off and Philip Goodrum playing that central role that he's so accustomed to.
Kick here for Lou City, setting up as if they want to drive it into the box here. Free kick brought to you by Fifth Third Bank.
This kickstart the second half, if they can get something dangerous in on the delivery, they've got the numbers.
Davila short, Winder, back to Davila. After setting up like that, we're going to send it into the box. They go short, and nothing comes out of it. That was disjointed from the start for Lou City.
And a bit frustrating because that's, you mentioned it, you have the numbers up, you have the ability, and you've shown throughout the season how dangerous you're going to be on attacking free kicks. I would go out to say that these are 2 teams that their plan B in matchups is just doing plan A better. And that's where you stick to what your strength has been throughout the season. And that's what you'll see from both these teams. Rhode Island will continue to look to create that second goal. Lou City is gonna push to manipulate space. Trying to look for that transition moment.
Wilson Harris bounces right back to him. Morris. Jake Morris earns a corner. First Wi-Fi corner kick of the second half for Lou City.
And I would dare to say that this corner is not going to be played short. It is going to be played right in that chaos.
It'll be Ray Serrano. Ah, it did go short. Of course, Eric. Corner for Lou City. Jack Harlow taking this one in from the suite. Staying dry. Hoping his side is able to find a way back in this one. wonder what he thought about the back-to-back shorts on the free kick and the corner kick.
Now that short corner looked well designed, and unfortunately for teams, sometimes you can only pull that off once, and when you get that look, you've got to try to take advantage.
And how much of it, though, is what Danny Cruz shared with us in our conversation, where you've got 3-4 guys who are 6'3" and above for Rhode Island, where it's just a deterrent where you maybe don't want to take that chance, and you do try to find alternative ways.
Yeah, that's such a terrific point, and you take that into consideration. You take a look at how Rhode Island typically sets up defensively, and you use that to guide what you look to do, and maybe feeling like it, to your point, those earlier free kicks, those set pieces in the first half, you're just not necessarily winning those aerial duels because of those differences in height. So you want to change it up. You want to show something different, especially here early in the second half. But going back to that first free kick, you still just ended up with nothing out of it. You ended up with just conceding a goal kick. So there's still something where you want to create an area that Rhode Island has to defend or have some sort of defensive action.
You wonder when Rhode Island might try and counter with a change of their own after seeing Jake Morris and Philip Goodrum come out there for Lou City. Gotta be careful though, because you can't be over aggressive in a counter substitution, because if Lou City gets the goal, well, it's a different ballgame now at 1-1, and maybe the sub you wanted to make at 1-0 doesn't really make sense anymore at 1-1. So again, it's that cat and mouse, that chess match between Cano Smith and Danny Cruz. It was Danny Cruz who made that first big move, 2 big moves, with Morris and Goodrum coming in. We see how things settle in and when Cano Smith responds. J.J. Williams, the goal scorer.
This is something that Rhode Island would enjoy to see, is the ability to take a bit more out of the air out of the ball, keep possession, swing it from side to side, and then look for that moment where you could find, just like that, J.J. Williams operating between the center backs.
Elijah Winder now cuts inside. Winder with options. Winder for Goodrum, it's blocked.
Tremendous first action here out wide from Elijah Winder, and it's that ability for these central players for Lou City to find themselves in those wide channels. But it's almost like he had to pull it back to Ray Serrano. That near post finish was going to always be difficult. Just with the bodies that were in front of it, the angle in which Philip Goodrum was there. It's almost that run where you take defenders away and you're opening up that PK spot for Ray Serrano or any late runner.
Adams chested down. Tosh. Not seeing much of Rhode Island on the ball yet in this second half. Lou City, the aggressors, obviously down a goal. Gonna find a way to get it back. Tosh. Here's Harris. Wilson Harris had it blocked. Davila picks it up. Winder still down. Play continues around him. Adams. Harris. Wilson Harris blocked away by Duggan. Rather Stoneman, excuse me. The one thing about this Lou City team, and we saw it in the win over North Carolina last game, once they get one, the avalanche seems to start. So if you're Rhode Island, you got to be careful you're not to sit back too much, because if they get that one, Louisville, that second one, you feel like it's coming right after it.
See this play.
You want to describe it?
Yeah. The strategic pause was there for you to pick up what had happened, and obviously, back up. You see the fans at Lynn Family didn't like the stoppage in play, but also not sure they got a clear-cut view of what exactly happened to Yao.
If they did, they'd understand.
Yes. I think they'd still be upset with the stoppage, but the understanding part would be the empathy. But to your point, I just think that's where Lou City has sputtered out a bit tonight. We've seen their ability to be deceptive and manipulate spaces, especially in that final third, whether it's disguising a pass, disguising a dribble.
Even a moment like that where it's just uncharacteristically out of sorts.
But we saw bits of that in the first half as well, some casual play and some nervy moments through the back, and that's not something typical that we see from this Lou City side. So how can they get back to disguising some of these passes? Maybe it's the decisiveness, maybe it's the speed of play. Give Rhode Island a lot of credit to get into their spots early and really negating anything that Lou City can build from or sustain.
See a lot more of that too, with Morris coming in off the wing and trying to make a play. So offensive oriented. Again, that's why he hasn't started these last two games. Danny Cruz opting for the more sure thing defensively at Amadou Dia. But now down a goal at the half, you bring in Morris. That's the luxury that Danny Cruz has to be able to push these buttons. Bring on Philip Goodrum. Offside flag comes up on Wilson Harris, coming back to receive the ball. You can't watch the match, turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. All the way back for Las. Nothing in the attacking half yet in this second half for Rhode Island. A lot of defending being done. It's all they got to do, though, right now, up 1-0.
And have seen 12 minutes come off the clock. I mean, have not conceded anything clear-cut or dangerous to Lou City. And the longer that this goes on, do you wonder if frustration starts to set in for Lou City, the inability to create that clear-cut opportunity? And then does that frustration or even desperation affect the way that they build and the way that they play in that final third, the decisions they make?
Well, you mentioned it, though, in the first half that this Lou City side has only been shut out twice this year. So you typically need more than just the one goal if you're Rhode Island. But Rhode Island was one of the two teams who shut out Lou City this year. So longer it goes, you start thinking, all right, Rhode Island shut them out already this year. They're the only team that's beaten them on the road this year. They haven't lost to Lou City this year. Is this really going to happen? And with every passing moment from the clock, that belief is going to grow for Rhode Island, and the doubt is going to grow for Louisville. Davila. Through for Morris. Corner coming.
That's well played by Davila. The patience, and even though Nadarse knows that that ball is coming, still the ability of Jake Morris to turn this corner and force the corner kick, giving this team an opportunity to present something they've excelled at throughout.
From the corner, loose in front, cleared by Rhode Island. Another Wi-Fi corner kick on by the wayside for Lou City. Not been too threatening from them. Winder. Not enough on it to get it out to McFadden. Winder is barreling through it. It'll be a Rhode Island throw.
Tackle here from Elijah Winder. Can you stack positive plays and use some of these louder defensive moments to kind of gain your footing on the offensive side? I mean, talked about the frustration in terms of the inability to break down Rhode Island. Can Can you use some of those defensive moments and build yourself into this match? Because now you're heading into 15 minutes into the second half. You haven't created that chance that you've wanted.
Here's Goodrum. Serrano. Darce heads it centrally. Yao gets rid of it. Brought down from Morris. Jake Morris saved by Vegas.
Starts with this ball clipped over the top, putting Rhode Island in a situation where they're running to their own goal. Good service. You see the late run from Ray Serrano, the challenge. And this is why you have Jake Morris in there, is that attitude to go towards goal. Obviously a bit ambitious from that angle and that distance, falling away from the ball, but he's got that mentality to know where goal is, where he wants to go from there. And this is a Lou City side, I mean, that not only created their chances, but converted their chances, led the league in conversion rate.
Ahead of the curve, relief around the corner, serving Louisville, Central Kentucky, and Southern Indiana. It's advanced Ian Tate. Holstead recovers. Tries to squeak through the sea of purple and somehow did. This is where Rhode Island can be dangerous, though, in transition. It's how they burned Louisville a couple of times in the last meeting. All the way back to Coque Vegas now. Beyond the hour mark here at Lynn Family Stadium. Rhode Island up 1-0 on Lou City. After a historic regular season, set the home wins record, the home goals record. Now in peril, but Ray Serrano tries to help them out of it. Back post! Vital tackle made on the back door by Morris Duggan. That was tailor-made for a tap-in, if not for Duggan's intervention. McFadden now skies it. Serrano mistimed it. Morris keeps it alive. Morris took a deflection, cleared.
What a massive intervention by Duggan. As you mentioned, it was all there to just be a tap in.
Serrano, that ball stayed in, the volley does not.
Ball played in from Jake Morris down this flank. Ray Serrano, that lethal left foot. What a touch from Duggan. And another left-footed service. It's right over as Aiden McFadden. But you got to feel good about the tempo and pace you're playing with. I know that tackle from Duggan was one of the last actions in that sequence, but what Rhode Island continued to do a terrific job of is influencing that entry pass in the defensive third. They're either getting a touch on it or they're dictating where and when it can get played in.
Paravo through. Williams streaking. Fuson drops it back. Hoping for the run from Holstead. Another change coming now for Lou City. It'll be Manny Perez on for Aiden McFadden. So both of the more attacking-minded wingbacks now out there for Lou City, as well as having Harris out there together up top with Goodrum. It's about as attacking-minded as you can get now for Lou City. Substitution brought to you by Fortnite. Quizera. Holstead tries to switch. Morris had a beat on it. Morris has space now. Jake Morris gallops ahead. Wilson Harris streaking in the middle. Morris, too much in the end. Waited too long. Touch was heavy. Moment's gone.
In the ground that was covered by Holstead there. That back line of Rhode Island does a great job of understanding that their job was just to absorb the pressure, just continue to backtrack, continue to make Jake Morris have to make a decision. And it delays and buys enough time for Holstead to cover that ground, intervene, and win possession.
Watch Halstead coming across the halfway line, just sprinting, cuts it off, perfect angle, makes the play.
That commitment right there, just knowing as soon as they got dispossessed that it was having to go at that angle. Sometimes you see those midfielders kind of make that straight run towards the back, almost thinking that they got to become another center back, but understanding they had to come across that field.
25 to play. If you're Rhode Island, you know that you're going to get the kitchen sink thrown at you from Lou City. Another Wi-Fi corner kick now. Davila in swinger. Header away from Yao. That's where they have a big advantage in the air, Rhode Island. Player down behind the plate for the visitors. Gets to his feet now as the play continues. Good drum looking through. Vegas has it smothered. And now, player going down. I believe it's Duggan in the middle. Duggan now to a seated position, but it helps take the sting out of this a little bit here. Blue City was starting to make some inroads. Looks like he's bleeding from either the nose or the lip. Trying to keep it away from his jersey. Doesn't need to change it. Although a dry jersey would be welcome right now, given the rain that we've seen all night long. And again, it wouldn't be dry for long, maybe 30, maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah. Wishful thinking for how long it would last, but the tackle that Duggan had put in on what was almost a certain Philip Goodrum tap-in goal from that Ray Serrano left-footed service. As we see Rhode Island preparing a substitute. And where we see Lou City finding success now is not only in transition, but now getting some of those wide services, those deep wide services that they have become accustomed to seeing, that cut back cross, their ability to add layers and add that late runner. Rhode Island continues to stack the box, get good numbers behind.
And that'll be all for Duggan. Kofi Chumesi will take his spot. First sub from Rhode Island. Straight swap of the center backs. Chumesi made 10 appearances, 3 starts this year. Filled in adequately, as they've had some guys missing throughout the year at different times. There was a spell where Grant Stoneman was out. Morris Duggan didn't join until August on loan. So a lot of mixing and matching on that back line. Chumesi filled in admirably when he was called upon. Called upon now after Duggan was bloodied. Over the top for Wilson Harris. Overlap from Perez, yields a corner. And you understand where Ricardo Smith is coming from. You cannot right now afford to play down a man, even if it's for 2-3 minutes, to get Duggan patched up. You need 11 out there. You make the swap, defending this 1-goal lead with everything you've got. Last service from Davila put it in a very dangerous spot. This one flicked on, Scorpion flick, loose in front. I don't know how Elijah Winder got a piece of that.
Bit unconventional, but effective, and almost brought that ball across for a Lou City player. But with that substitution, to your point, you don't want to give Lou City any opportunity. And for Lou City, their ability to press, do you go ahead and press Chumesi just a bit more when he's on the ball? He's fresh into the game. But it also does highlight both these teams, their ability to use personnel throughout the regular season. We talked to Danny Cruz being purposeful with his squad rotation throughout the season. Those roles and responsibilities are as clear as day, and it's the same thing for Rhode Island. They've had to use a number of players throughout the year. So no question that Chumesi is going to be ready and prepared to step in and close out this final 20 minutes.
Perez, space, options abound in the middle. Not the best service. Harris tried to track it down. The Darce Coming away with it, Nadarce muscling off Morris and fouled by Morris. Brilliant play defensively from Frank Nadarce.
It starts with that delivery out wide, just that loose delivery that gets away and overshoots all of the runners, and then Jake Morris just trying to regain possession from Nadarce and just catches him on his way down. But Rhode Island will use every opportunity to slow this game down.
Morris. Harris. Backing into Yao. Slipping it through for Goodrum. Morris. Whistle blows, and indication is it goes against Goodrum, who thought he was fouled. Two players sort of went in simultaneously.
See here, both players making a play on the ball. Goodrum there is a split second late. That ball is already released. Catching Chimesi. And then another opportunity for Rhode Island to just slow this game down, see precious time come off the clock.
Tarivo. Holstead, under 20 remaining. Still Rhode Island in the lead. I don't know if we fully appreciate what this result would mean in the context of this league until it maybe happens.
Yeah.
And then after that, it still might take some time as Holstead picks up the yellow. But again, you've got a Lou City team that has made 9 straight conference finals, trying to make it 10. You've got a Rhode Island team in its inaugural season. Last year's Lou City team, that was the one that people thought maybe would not keep that streak alive. They struggled, they had to scrap, they had to go on the road. This team is the one that set all the records and seemed like it'd be the one to finally end that 6-year title drought. And now you're going up against this Rhode Island team who might thwart all of that. So it'll take some time maybe for fans around the league if this result stands, but it would be something that sends shockwaves throughout the league.
It would be, because every test that Lou City has faced, they've passed. I mean, obviously the one blemish here at home coming against this Rhode Island team, but
and Perez trying to change that now and make that whole conversation null and void, and a corner coming again.
Every time they had a matchup that people would point at, this is the week that we truly get to see what Lou City, they would come out and perform. And so that's where I think with 17 minutes left, you're waiting to see what Lou City is able to convert, whether it's here on set pieces that they've been dangerous throughout the season. As we mentioned, led the league with 17 goals off corners.
Davila's service flicked on. Nothing doing again. Albert Dequa now getting ready to come on for Rhode Island. Told it'll be for Frank Nadarce when the change happens.
But on the flip side, Rhode Island, 15 draws, so they've been able to close out matches.
Perez looking through for Harris. Runs out of room.
And I know not, those 15 draws were not 0-0 because they only have the 9 clean sheets on the season, but they are battle tested when it comes to close matches, those matches that are just a grind to finish off.
And that would be pretty poetic if this is how Rhode Island is able to finish this one off early in the year in that 1-4-9 stretch. In the first 14 games, their Achilles heel was closing games out. And in that conversation with Kano Smith about how they always felt it would turn around because they were so close, bounce here, bounce there, unlucky moment here, mistake there, it did turn. So now, if you come on the road against this Lou City team and close out a game after leading for 81 minutes, that would be the complete polar opposite of how Rhode Island started this season. It would show the growth they've enjoyed under Kano Smith. Another sub brought to you by Fortinup. It is Nadarce off and Dequa on. Fans, it's time to vote on tonight's Lynn Family Vision Man of the Match. Poll will be open for the next 10 minutes. Vote now on the Lou City app.
And with all that defending that Rhode Island is doing, they bring on Albert Dikwa. Attacking presence. Ability to join J.J. Williams up top.
eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball, free to play. Download now.
See, Kanu Smith has moved Noah Fuson out in that right side where Nodarse was, and now that two front is Albert Dikwa and J.J. Williams.
Dikwa, reigning MVP of the league and Golden Boot winner. Injuries stymied him a bit this year. 10 goals, 4 assists, though, so not too shabby for a year where he was impacted by injuries.
It would be devastating for Lou City to concede this late, but now Rhode Island pushing.
Comes out top to the box. Harivo to take a deflection. Elton Garcia says yes. Corner coming.
And this is that opportunistic nature that Rhode Island plays with. They have defended, they've absorbed, they've done a great job of making it so difficult for Lou City, and then that opportunity that they get in that defensive, that attacking third, they have good structure, and Harivo's right there to put Damian Loss into a difficult save and earn his team a corner kick.
Again, set piece is the issue for Lou City last week, conceded twice. A lot of big targets here for Rhode Island. Quizera will take. Quizera into the traffic, back post, off target. But another corner coming now. 2 calls Louisville was upset with.
Elton Garcia making sure that he's pointing out which one of the Lou City defenders touched it.
He's right.
Yep.
Arturo Ordonez getting up and hitting it. Jansen Wilson now getting ready to check on for Lou City. Be their 4th sub, but 3rd and final window. First a corner from Rhode Island. Adams heads away. Driven ball through the traffic. It's just wide. That is a goalkeeper's worst nightmare. I don't know if Damian Loss ever saw that ball, but happy to see it go wide in the end. And here is that sub. Serrano off, Jansen Wilson on.
Goalkeeper's worst nightmare because you catch it late and then you just never know if it takes the slightest of deflections and you feel like you're set in good position, but sometimes find it on frame.
Given away at the back off the goal kick. Williams! Is that the nail in the coffin for Louisville? J.J. Williams with a brace!
And making it 5 goals in this playoff run right now for J.J. Williams. The hat trick against Indy 11. The opening goal in the 9th minute as we see Rhode Island fans celebrating in the corner. And we saw pieces of this in the first half. Some of the casual play through the back that just didn't come back and hurt Lou City, but here absolutely punishes them. J.J. Williams, that first goal, the awareness, that veteran ability from an attacker to recognize what was made available to him on that drive and dribble, and then here, just sitting in a space, waiting for that ball to come across the face of the 18, putting himself in a terrific spot to pick that ball up, teeing it up on his left foot. My goodness, what a performance.
11 minutes to go, 2-0 Rhode Island lead. It slipped through for Wilson Harris. You know Lou City's gonna battle to the end. They have had some dramatic ones over the years. Some they've been on the wrong side of. A couple years ago, Eastern Conference Final, late goals conceded against Tampa Bay Rowdies. Had some late drama. But this is now, again, feeling like June, where late on it was Rhode Island able to distance themselves from Lou City on a night where they were outshot, on a night where they were outchanced, if you will. But Rhode Island came away with that 5-2 victory, now up 2-0, capitalizing on 2 mistakes from Lou City.
So reminiscent of that last matchup in terms of converting those chances that you created, because I will go back to Lou City was not able to sustain thus far through 80 minutes dangerous opportunities in front of Coque Vegas. They had the late free kick in the first half that went underneath the wall from Taylor Davila. They've forced the big intervention by Duggan right before it hit the feet of Philip Goodrum. But besides that, they've kind of sputtered out towards that final third and unable to create that dangerous moment.
There's some of the unorthodox play of Coque Vegas. 2-0 lead, coming about 10 yards out of the box for a header. I don't know if Cano Smith loves that. A little heart and throat moment there, just trying to make sure you nurse this one over the finish line. The records we talked about for Lou City, especially at home this year, 16-1, beat the previous home wins record in USL Championship by 3. After all that, they might not even end 2024 with the best win percentage at this stadium. It'd be a perfect 2-0 for Rhode Island potentially. J.J. Williams, can they put it to bed? Williams. Ibarra. Air completely came out of this building on that second goal. Can Lou City try and restore the life somehow? Even if it's just one. Gets the crowd back into it, puts the pressure on Rhode Island. Stunned, I guess the best way to describe this building right now. Cleanly won.
When we talked to Cano Smith earlier this week about J.J. Williams, his performance against Indy 11, and even throughout that tail end of the season, simple response was, I'm glad he's in form. And there's no question that he's glad he's in form tonight, because J.J. Williams is an attacking player that obviously he's shown the variety in which he can finish here. He can drive in that space, but then he has that finish right there for the second goal. But he's an attacking player that does not need a lot of touches to be effective. You haven't seen his involvement throughout this second half, and then there, just a few moments, he scores the second goal of the game. So we see Zara down.
Got the 2 goals courtesy of J.J. Williams. They've also stood strong on the back end. Some moments for Coque Vegas. Some vital tackles made by defenders to keep the 0 for now.
Okay, that was another dangerous moment. I forgot that one. I mentioned the Taylor Davila one on the free kick, but that one moments after conceding the goal. But besides that, it's been a group of half chances for Lou City. The ability to not get the quality service that they're accustomed to throughout the season in those vital moments. That hopeful strike, that left-footed strike from Jake Morris shortly after he was inserted into the match.
Morris on the ground, took a deflection, Vega stumbles, ball's loose! Is it over the line? Lou City thinks so. Goal has been announced in stadium. I don't believe it counts. They're arguing with the assistant referee. Lou City's bench thinks it was in. Elijah Winder sees it's not in his conversation with the assistant referee. We play on at 2-0. Winder. 6+ stoppage time.
Let's see the replay here. What the call is.
He just fumbled it. There was no contact.
I mean, yeah, and you can understand the frustration from Elijah Winder because there is nothing there that interrupts the play for Coque Vegas. He just simply spills the ball.
Trio of changes being prepared here to see this one out for Rhode Island.
You just got to wonder how much traffic was in front of Elton Garcia and his inability to get a clear view of that. And then you see just a bit of contact between Elijah Winder and Coque Vegas. You just assume that that influenced him to cleanly take that.
Harivo. Here come those changes for Rhode Island. J.J. Williams will depart here with a brace against Louisville. 10 career games against Lou City. 5 goals in those games. 5 goals in this postseason. Started back in the 9th minute.
Yep, this drive, just understanding, being aware of where those Lou City defenders are. They stayed compact, and then saw Damian Loss go to the ground. The ability to just be creative, clip it over, and then ability to read Lou City in that build, to sit in that pocket of space, pick that pass off. But then the hardest part was putting it on that left foot and that angle, right above the top of the net.
Harivo out for Brito. Williams out for Doyle. Quizera out for Amos Shapiro-Thompson. All subs brought to you by Fortna. Niall McCabe coming on now. Placing Arturo Ordonez, center back sacrificed. Midfielder on. Got to go for it, Lou City. Need 2 goals and 4 plus stoppage time. Otherwise, a historic season comes tumbling down in the conference semifinal.
And for Lou City, you can look at it that you've got to find 1 in before it hits 90, because stoppage time, you're not going to have a significant amount of time, but you're going to have enough time to go ahead and pull a second one back if you can find that first one.
They approached the all-time points record. They tied the all-time wins record. Truly historic season for Lou City. Danny Cruz through it all, though, said none of it matters if we don't win the title. Phoenix Rising, with the team they were chasing from 2019, with all those records, they didn't win the title. And that's something that Danny Cruz wanted to avoid. It's great if they could look back on it and they could point to that 3rd star above the crest and say, yeah, that year we also did this and also did this and also did that. But without that star above the crest, it means nothing in their eyes. And they are dangerously close to it meaning nothing in their eyes.
And winning the organization's first Players' Shield. And you just wonder how difficult it is to be the hunted every single game. You're getting everybody's best shot in the regular season. Then you start the playoffs, you get North Carolina that just came out flying. And then you give up an early 9th minute goal to J.J. Williams.
Ball stayed in. Morris hustling. 2 minutes to go with the 90. Wilson Harris.
What a story this would be. You mentioned it earlier, maybe the shockwaves of the scoreline reverberating around the league. You just see Lou City fall if this scoreline holds. But what a job from Rhode Island and Kanu Smith's side. I mean, only 2, Lou City's only been shut out twice this season. And right now on the verge of the 3rd time and second coming at the hands of Rhode Island.
You look up and down every team that Lou City played in the Eastern Conference this year, they took something from them. Not Rhode Island, kinda. It was a 0-0 draw in Rhode Island, so they did get a point, but they lose the season series because they lost at home to Rhode Island. Every other team, Louisville found a way in at least one of, if not both of the games. Not against Rhode Island, though. And that tie that the teams had in Rhode Island, it was part of that early season stretch when they were 1-4-9 Rhode Island. That was one of the indicators that things were still going well for Cano Smith's group. Again, they played 14 games. They only lost 4. They only won 1. They had 9 ties. They were right there in all of them. The worm turned here at Lynn Family Stadium with that 5-2 win on June 22nd. Into stoppage time now, brought to you by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. 7 minutes tacked on. This would be an appropriate full circle moment for Cano Smith, who's not happy about the stoppage time number here, clearly. But to have had this run start with a win in this stadium, to have it not end, but continue to a conference final with a win in this stadium. Between regular season and postseason, Louisville were 17-1 here this year. Could be 17-2. Doyle looking for Dequa. Albert Dequa goes down, penalty! Rhode Island can put it to bed right here, right now.
And we're gonna see this ball across from Doyle. Just perfect. Touch, head up, puts that shape, playing it right around every Lou City defender, and that experience from Albert Dequa, just knowing that he's not necessarily at an angle that he could beat Damian Loss, but knows that he could just get that subtle touch forward and take contact.
Noah Fuson steps up. 8 goals, 6 assists this season. Deep breath from Damian Loss. It's already an uphill battle. 5 minutes to go, down 2 goals. Get a third, forget about it. Noah Fuson, saved by Ross! Rebound, put in! Rhode Island will play for the conference title!
Albert Dequa draws the penalty, doesn't take the penalty, but still finds a way to be on the end of this finish and put the exclamation point on this match. Draws this foul again. He knows, he sees the commitment that Damian Loss has to winning this ball, just knows that he's got to get a touch in front of him and he'll draw the foul. And then the save by Loss on Fuson, but the relentless nature and the opportunistic ability of a goal scorer like Albert Dequa beats Lou City to that spot and then just tucks it away, and you can see the despair for Damian Loss.
Cannot say enough about this Rhode Island club. Start the year 1-4-9, inaugural season. We got a stadium on the way in the near future. Playing this year on the campus of Bryant. Just finding a temporary home while they're starting to make the inroads to the community, and the support they've had from the fans all year long has been outstanding for the inaugural season. Even in the early going, when they were 1-4-9, crowd was still packed. They never wavered. Came here June 22nd, got the W. From that point on, one of the best teams in not only the Eastern Conference, but in all of USL Championship. You're in your inaugural season, coming all the way from Rhode Island to Louisville. That's not an easy trip. Look at the support they have up there in that section. What Cano Smith and this organization have built in year 1 to play for a conference title in year 1 is truly special for Rhode Island.
And Cano Smith had brought up, until we're doing what Lou City's doing, we haven't accomplished what we want to accomplish. And my goodness, year 1, you're on the verge of punching your ticket to the East Finals. I mean, what a performance.
For Lou City, as the stadium is cleared out here, comes crashing down a round earlier than it ever has before. 9 previous seasons, 9 trips to the conference final. Haven't won every single one of those conference titles, obviously. Made a few finals, won 2 of them, but they've always gotten there to the last 4. For this to be the first time they don't in this historic season is truly stunning in that way as well. Never know in this league. We talk about it all year long, from early March to now in November. It almost gets to a point where it sounds cliche and it sounds like we're trying to be a used car salesman drumming up the parity of this league. Here it is.
Yep.
We're not lying when we talk about it like that for 9 months. It is there, and on a night like tonight, you truly see it.
Well, and we talk about it throughout the regular season, how difficult it is to get results, but how difficult it is to get results on the road. And that's exactly what Rhode Island's about to do for the second consecutive week in this round of in the semifinals. They win on the road at Indy 11, stunned Indy 11, and then just shocking this crowd at Lou City.
Yeah, the terrific rivalry that is Lipa FC between Lou City and Indy 11, both dispatched in back-to-back rounds by Rhode Island. So in that way, neither fan base can make fun of the other here. They both met the same result in 2024. Anything now would just be a cherry on top for Rhode Island. It's Diqua. Albert Diqua going for goal, saved by Las. Final minute. For Louisville, where do you go from here? It's the best roster in the league. Historic season. Got to pick up the pieces somehow. Philip Goodrum, he's taken down. And there is a point to the spot from Elton Garcia.
And this is what Lou City was looking for throughout this game. The ability to get Rhode Island disconnected, find this ball over the top in the space that Philip Goodrum finds. Obviously, Kanu Smith very upset with conceding that PK.
And with the result in hand, we obviously have to be unbiased. Hope this is a goal because Lance McGarvey, the longtime PA announcer, the Lou City goal, I can't even try to do it the way he does. To be able to have one more goal call in this stadium would be deserving for him and these fans. So see if he gets his moment here. And it's Sean Tosh who'll be taking it. Tip of the cap to Lance McGarvey. Does he get one more? Tosh saved. Nothing going Louisville's way tonight. All Rhode Island. On their jerseys it says anchored in the community. They have had a terrific inaugural season and it's not over yet. Rhode Island FC in year 1 will compete for the Eastern Conference Championship.
You just have to tip your cap off to Kanu Smith, his group, the resilience, the adaptability that they have faced, and the challenges to go on the road in this league, and not only to pick up wins in the regular season, but to go do it in the playoffs in your first year. I mean, it helps when a player like that, JJ Williams, is in form and scored 3 goals in the first game, 2 tonight. But just an absolute performance from top to bottom for Rhode Island, defending incredibly well. Those last-ditch efforts, those tackles, and then picking their moments and creating those opportunities to pull ahead early and then stretch the lead here late.
Well, they'll finish 2024 Lou City 17-2 at home in USL Championship between regular season and postseason. The 2, Rhode Island twice. 5-2 back in the summer. 3-0 here tonight. They'll get their opponent tomorrow, either Charleston or Tampa Bay. But it's JJ Williams and Rhode Island stunning the crowd here at Lynn Family Stadium. Rhode Island FC in year one will play in the Eastern Conference Final. We'll be back in just a moment to wrap things up from Lynn Family Stadium. Final score brought to you by Gorski Injury Law Office. 3-0 Rhode Island. They're on their way to the Eastern Conference Final.
Get out there and hit the trails. Get to the cabin. Get out and play.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck.
Like the dominatingly powerful new Tundra, which can tow up to 12,000 pounds and deliver the best resale value in its class.
Now get a new Tundra with 2.99 APR financing, $2,000 customer cash, or a low $419 a month lease. Plus 2 years, no-cost maintenance.
Nobody builds trucks better than Toyota. Let's go places.
At Typical Insurance, you're just another senior.
That is the third health insurance commercial with seniors at a farmer's market.
Right? Don't get me wrong, I love a fresh heirloom, but it's like those companies think we're all the same.
That's why I chose Humana. Before I signed up, I spoke to someone who actually listened to what I needed. She told me about benefits that were right for me, like vision and dental, all in my budget. I'm finally feeling control. What are you doing?
Taking control.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get out for a night out in a new Toyota.
Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like this all-wheel drive RAV4 hybrid.
When it comes to SUVs, more people count on RAV4 year after year.
Get 4.99 APR financing on a new RAV4 or RAV4 hybrid, or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $309 a month. Plus 2 years, no-cost maintenance.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota. Let's go places.
Postgame brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety. The Rhode Island faithful greeting their players. They were up there tucked in that corner making noise all night. They can make all the noise they want now. Shirts optional. Rhode Island wins it 3-0. They head to the conference final here in the East. A terrific inaugural season continues now. And it started in the 9th minute with the opening goal.
And just this poke from Nodarse on this sideline restart, the throw in, and then J.J. Williams just does the rest, driving at this back line, pushing them to make a decision. Damian Loss comes off his line, commits to going to ground. All he does is scoop this ball with his right foot. And there was that early start 9 minutes in, and you almost thought that we had a response from Lou City, this delivery from Ray Serrano, and then second and third chance, and then they earn a corner off this as well. When they have those opportunities to get those numbers in the box, Lou City has been so dangerous. And then getting Wilson Harris on the ball, ability to turn. He forces this foul by Yao, and then Davila puts this through the wall. Takes a little bit of a deflection there, but Coque Vegas there to make the save. Makes it look routine.
This was your move of the match brought to you by Toyota. Winder leaves the defender in the dust, but nothing comes of it in the end. Great block made defensively on the shot by Goodrum.
Yeah, and a good late run from Ray Serrano. And this was in a moment of the match where Lou City was starting to find a lot of success in those wider areas, going into those half spaces, driving at that end line, playing those spaces. But this is where it began to unravel. This ball played across. We saw some of those miscues in the first half, but they didn't punish Lou City here. J.J. Williams makes absolutely no doubt about that. Roofs that finish with that left foot. And then Albert Dikwa drawing this foul from Damian Loss. Again, Loss committing to ground. Dikwa just needed to get a touch, and then the save on Noah Fuson's PK, but Albert Dikwa there to tuck it away. Puts his team up 3-0 and makes this a mountain to climb for Lou City.
And Lou City, they had the effort here on the penalty. Would have meant nothing. It would have made it 3-1. It would have been a nice send-off for Lance McGarvey, the PA announcer. But when it's not your night, it's not your night. And Coque Vegas made the save.
Yeah, and you said it. When it's not your night, it's not your night. Everything that Lou City had done this year in terms of coming back from losing positions, their record at home, PKs, everything, it just didn't come together.
We can almost complete the Eastern Conference bracket and the USL playoffs brought to you by Terminix. Rhode Island into the Eastern Conference final. It'll either be Tampa Bay, who've been there, done that, or Charleston, who are the reigning Eastern Conference champions.
And the best feeling for Rhode Island is, guess what? You get to sit back on a Sunday and watch these two teams play and see what your matchup is. You know, you get a bit of an early start to preparation, but you get the rest and you get the ability to just know that you got the result that you needed. And I just go back to it, the performance, the overall complete performance from Kanu Smith and his side was just incredible tonight.
And that one tomorrow again is at 3 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Try and figure out who will face Rhode Island in the Eastern Conference Final. You can catch more action right now underway. It's the other 1 seed. It is New Mexico against Vegas on ESPN+. Flip over to that one right now. Catch all the action there. A historic season for Lou City comes to an end. Rhode Island, a historic inaugural season, make the conference final. The crew that makes this possible, broadcast partner Eric Dobransky. I'm Joe Malva saying so long for now. A 3-0 win for Rhode Island. Anchored in community, they go to the Eastern Conference Final. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.